Every summer, kids lose ground on skills they spent the whole school year building. It's called summer slide, and it's real. But for neurodivergent kids, the stakes are a little different, and the strategies that actually help may be a little different too. Today, I want to talk about what summer slide actually is, why it hits harder for some of our kids, and what you can realistically do about it without turning your summer into a second school year, because that is not the goal either. I'm Mary Ellen. I homeschool in a neurodivergent family, and I share real-life parenting and homeschooling content for families, navigating ADHD, autism, dyslexia, and other learning differences. This is part of my homeschooling series. Links to other videos are below. What is summer slide? Summer slide, or sometimes called summer regression, summer learning loss, is the tendency for kids to lose academic skills over the summer when they're not actively using them. It's been studied for decades, and it's pretty consistent across the research. On average, kids lose 1 to 3 months of reading progress over the summer. Math can even be more vulnerable, particularly with math facts and computation skills that rely on automaticity. But here's what matters for our community. Summer slide disproportionately affects kids who are already working harder to build those skills. And for kids with learning differences, dyslexia, ADHD, processing differences, skills that took extra time and effort to build in the first place are more fragile than skills that come easy. I saw this firsthand this year. After our Christmas break, which was just 2 weeks, my second son, who has the motor planning and coordination challenges, needed reminders about letter spacing, sizing, and even how to hold the paper so that it wasn't moving. Things that I hadn't had to prompt for months. That was 2 weeks. And when his physical therapist was out on maternity leave for 4 months, we saw real strength loss, more leaning, more weakness, things we now have to build up again. So when I talk about summer slide, I'm not talking abstractly. I've watched it happen in real time with my kids. And there's another piece to this that is often not mentioned, and that's what summer does to regulation and routine for neurodivergent kids. A lot of neurodivergent kids actually struggle with summer more than people expect because they have a loss of structure, unpredictability, and a change in routine, which these are all things that they thrive on. For kids with ADHD and autism especially, that transition into unstructured time can really be destabilizing. And when a kid is dysregulated, their learning retention is even lower. So it can be a double hit. Less academic practice and a nervous system that is less settled. But a little predictability, even some loose predictability, goes a long way. Not just for academic reasons, but for regulation reasons. But I also want to mention the other side of this, because this is also real. Summer can genuinely be restorative for neurodivergent kids and adults too. And I'm including myself in there. Especially for kids who have been white-knuckling it through environments that don't fit them well. The pressure comes off. They get more sleep, they're in their safe space, more outdoor time, more movement, more time to just be themselves. And all of that matters. So the goal isn't to fill every hour. The goal is to be intentional about what you protect. Before I get into what we actually do, I want to give you some context. Because our summer looks different than many other families. My boys both qualify for Medicaid through the Katie Beckett deeming waiver. I say this because if you're following me, your child could be in the same situation. Lots of ongoing therapy, medical appointments, structured supports. You may already have more summer structure than you realize. The academic piece on top of that can be lighter. For our family, I also really need the summer. Me and the boys are feeling the end of the year burnout. I need time to prepare for the next school year, tackle projects, have slower days, be able to sleep in a little. I'm not formally teaching over the summer. I need that break. That said, unfortunately, we can't completely let go either because regression is real. So here's the line we're planning to walk this summer. Reading is where I'm intentional because it's where my kids are most vulnerable. I have a kid with severe dyslexia, and I have an early reader. My oldest is going into 6th grade and has severe dyslexia. He's starting to work with a literacy speech therapist this summer, 1 hour a week, and possibly 2 if they create a small peer group session. So there will be some reading and writing built into that. That's his structured reading support this summer. For both boys, we're doing a summer reading program. We've done the Barnes and Noble summer reading program in the past and enjoyed it. This year, we're also looking into our local library program. The goal either way is simple. Read a book, write down the author and title, and a sentence about your favorite part. But it keeps the reading habit alive and adds a small writing component naturally. Also, I don't pick my kids' books. They do. They recently went through Amazon and thrift books, and they picked out books that they actually want to read this summer. And they're already starting to arrive through the mail. When kids choose their own books, they read, and it's a more positive experience. They also read by sight and auditory. And for kids with dyslexia especially, audiobooks are reading. They build vocabulary, comprehension, and narrative understanding. They are not cheating. If your child with dyslexia will listen to 3 audiobooks this summer, that is a win. Mine has a Youtube player that he listens to frequently. Plus, we listen to audiobooks in the car. During the school year, they're school books, but in the summer, they get to pick the books. I also let them earn screen time for sight reading. It's a low pressure motivator and it works for our family. For math, I keep it simple and targeted. My oldest is working on division fluency this summer, specifically using Division Facts That Stick by Kate Snow. It has games and worksheets, which he'll try to do 3 times a week when we don't have camps or other trips. I also keep Beast Academy puzzles available because he likes to do those also. For my younger son going into 3rd grade, he's already into 3rd grade math and could use a little more of a break. So he'll be doing more Beast Academy puzzles to use different mathematical skills. And he'll be doing this workbook that I found at Ollie's really cheap. And it's review for 2nd grade, bridging into 3rd grade. And he's just gonna do a front and back page. Some of it's language arts and some of it's math. And he's just gonna do that 2 days a week. It's enough to keep skills warm, but not to be too much. And there are tons of these workbooks out there. I don't really have a specific brand that I recommend, but it is a fun change up for them. Math maintenance does not have to be a curriculum. It can be a game, it can be a puzzle, a workbook page, real life, like cooking, measuring, counting, money. 5 to 10 minutes a few times a week is genuinely enough to maintain what they built during the school year. The last thing I want to talk about is rhythm. For us, having therapies throughout the week gives us a natural anchor. On top of that, our light academic work can be done easily in the morning, a few days a week. And then afternoons are free. There are play dates, tons of outdoor activities, water time, working on bike riding, a skill that we don't have as much time during the school year to work on, puzzles, art projects, craft supplies. I try to protect sleep and outdoor time as much as possible. The research on outdoor time and movement for ADHD kids specifically is very strong, and I have personally seen the benefits with my own kids. It genuinely supports attention, regulation, and mood. Playing in the yard, swimming, bike riding, it all counts. For us, screen time will have similar rules as during the school year, but likely some family movies thrown in. So not rigid, but not unlimited either. For our kids, completely unstructured screen time makes regulation harder. So having some sense of when and for how long helps. The goal is a predictable rhythm, not a schedule. My kids roughly know what mornings look like, roughly what afternoons look like. There's plenty of free time to decompress, but it's not completely formless, because completely formless is actually harder for neurodivergent kids, even when it sounds like freedom, which will then make it harder for us. Summer is not the enemy. We are looking forward to our summer. For a lot of neurodivergent kids, especially kids that have been working really hard throughout this whole school year, this summer can really be restorative. They need it. You need it. I need it. But again, a little intentionality goes a long way. Protect reading in some form. Keep math with low stakes practice. Maintain a loose rhythm. Protect sleep and outdoor time. And you don't have to do all of this perfectly. I know I don't. Pick the things that work for your family and let the rest go. The goal is to get to the new school year without feeling like you're starting from scratch, not to run a parallel school year, but restored and excited for the new year. If you would like to share what summer looks like in your house, drop it in the comments. I'm Mary Ellen Yates, and this is Growing Together, Neurodiversity at Home.